Hi, you're listening to Friend Seekers Anonymous.
I'm Cash.
And I'm Finn.
And this is our first podcast.
This is very exciting stuff.
And we are here to tell you about what it is like to seek out friends in a new state, specifically LA, when you're in your early 20s.
And honestly, just generally making friends in your early 20s. It's such a transition period, I think, for everybody, and you're sort of figuring out how to make friends as an adult without, like, the help of school and extracurriculars and stuff. I think it's a new ball game, and especially given how, like, lonely people are today.
Especially post-COVID. Like, let me just say, we are in our early 20s, but if you are not in your early 20s listening to this, like, I definitely think this can pertain to you as well, because I just think in general, like, the world is struggling with loneliness and depression and, like, knowing how to connect with people post the pandemic, and, like, even me as, like, I'm a pretty extroverted person, and, like, I still struggle sometimes, because, like, I got really used to being introverted, like, honestly, during the pandemic, which was never something I had enjoyed before, but I also like started dating somebody new, which I know a lot of people did when the pandemic happened, is like, whoever you started dating, you kind of were stuck
That's
with.
your life partner now.
Oh yeah, and those of us who got lucky, slay, but the other ones who didn't, I'm sure it's like been really hard to like pick up the pieces after that and like get back into a swing of things. So if you are listening to this and you are not sold on us yet, let me just tell you, I feel like we have some like good food for thought when it comes to, how to put yourself out there more and find your community wherever that is.
Yeah, and we're gonna be reviewing stuff, like different ways of making friends. We're gonna cover and
we're gonna try out some different apps and stuff, because I know that like a lot of people use those these days.
So first, I think we're just gonna tell you a little bit about how we met, how we became bestie pops.
Yep.
We met on a little app called Bumble BFF.
And for anybody who doesn't know what Bumble BFF is, it's pretty much a dating app that they made a new feature for. They actually have two different ones now, where they have Bumble Biz, so if you want to connect with anybody in your industry, you can go there, or they have Bumble BFF, where you can meet girly pops like us. And we both are not from California, and so when we moved here, we really didn't know what to do. I, for one, was working remotely. I was not in school, and when I first moved here, I was super, super scared to meet anybody, because I am not the type of person that goes up to strangers in the street and tries to befriend them. So I'm like, I don't really know how to do this.
Yeah, honestly, that was like my situation too. I moved here to act professionally, and I was in acting classes, but honestly, I'm kind of a shy person naturally. Like, it's hard for me to just go up to people and like put myself out there in a friend. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but like, I kind of want to know that somebody else is also seeking friends before I just try to, like, shove myself on them.
100%. Like, because also that just, like, makes me feel insecure. Hands down. It, like, reminds me of being a kid where I'm, like, in a new school, starting high school for the first time, wanting to make new friends, but, like, knowing that everybody already has their people. And I'm, like, putting yourself out there, knowing that the other person isn't interested, will make it to where you never want to do it again.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like people don't talk about that enough. Like, after I got out of high school, I was like, cool, that's done. Like, the whole thing where it's like, oh, where do I sit at the lunch table? And, like, you know, feeling kind of rejected and ostracized generally. Like, I thought it was over, and I think, I mean, in some ways it kind of is. Like, we don't get bullied anymore like we do in high school, but you never really get over that, like, feeling of being left out or insecure, just honestly wanting, like, community.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like that's something I've particularly struggled with, like, since high school, since I was honestly in, like, elementary school, is, like, my parents, like, were not the type of people that had a lot of their own friends around, and so I feel like I, for a lot of my life, didn't really know what, like, a healthy friendship looked like, and I'm very used to kind of being in, like, codependent friendships, like, since I was a kid, because I would get, like, hooked onto my one person that, like, I felt super safe with, and I wouldn't want to, like, go outside of my comfort zone for the fear of being rejected. And, like, honestly, like, coming into my own as, like, an adult and, like, having, like, a partner and then trying to make friends on top of that, it's been, like, a completely different ball game for me. And, like, I low-key feel like a kid again, because I feel like I have no experience here, and I've just been, like, learning along the way with you.
Honestly, that's so relatable. I mean, maybe it's, like, why we connected, but my parents also didn't have, like, they were both super introverted. Like, they were each other's people, and then when they got divorced, I was, like, their person. So I think we both are very used to the, like, super like
codependent friendships.
One friend whose skin you sort of just like crawl inside, which is low-key us, but we also we branch out, we make other friends. Anyway, the point is, this is us. We always get like sidetracked. We were supposed to just tell them who we met.
Staying on one topic is going to be an exercise.
So okay, we met.
I think it was the beginning, if not like the middle of April, which is kind of crazy because at that point that means we've been friends for like a year and a half.
Yeah. I know, right? Does it feel longer or shorter?
It feels longer.
I know.
But also at the same time, like, I guess I still feel so new to LA, even though I've been here for a while. Like, I don't know, hearing a year and a half, that's, like, shocking to me.
That's one of the craziest things. I mean, I think this applies to, like, friendships everywhere, but especially in LA, like, I also still feel new. Like, when I'm still on Bumble BFF and girls ask me, like, how long I've been here, it feels fucking weird to be like, 3 years. Like,
I know. Yeah, it is shocking to just, like, realize you've been here for 3 years, I've been here for a year and a half, and, like, my other Bumble friends who have been here for, like, a while struggle with the same thing.
Yeah,
because it's such a, like, big city to take on, and, like, we're both from Seattle. That's one of the reasons that we connected in the first place.
We matched over.
Yes.
I was like, honestly, I'd been bumbling for a while before I met you, and I was kind of just over it because I think I was getting so much, and we can talk about this later. Like, I just been getting met with a lot of, like, either girls who would just randomly ghost. Like, we would be talking and then we're just done talking.
Yeah.
And nothing, like, crazy happened. It was just sort of, like, the conversation petered out, or we never, like, made plans to hang out. It is, honestly, a lot like dating apps. But then also, like, the few girls that I did actually meet up with, it was fine, but it just, like, it never really went anywhere. Like, it just stayed an acquaintanceship, which was so taxing. And there's just such an LA vibe. But I saw your profile, and you were from Seattle, and I was like, I like that.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw that, and I literally didn't even look at the rest of your profile. I was just like, all right, works for me.
That's actually funny as fuck, because I was gonna sit here and be like, so what did you like about my profile?
I thought we had something in common. You looked slightly less scary than some of the other girls.
Dude, okay, can we talk about the fact that some of the girls on Bumble BFF, like, if any Bumble BFFers are listening to this, let me give you some, like, friendly profile advice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some of y'all is coming off scary.
We have to dedicate a whole episode to just some, like, advice, because let me just say, there are, like, just some hands-down things that certain girls do that make me not want to swipe on them, regardless of if they look cool or they have a lot in common with me. It's like anybody that is only posting alone, that kind of freaks me out a little bit, because I'm like, where are your friends?
Seriously.
But then there's the other side of that coin where it's only with a bunch of people, and then I'm like, but why are you on here?
Why are you on Bumble BFF? Is so real. I have that a lot where I go out with girls who are so busy with all their other friends, and I'm like, have friends. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. But, like, I think as adults we don't need 30 friends.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can have your little crew, and then, like, I think you're set, honestly.
Literally. And that's, like, a big lesson I feel like I learned in the first year that I moved here being on Bumble, is when I first started being on my profile, I was, like, excited because I was getting all these matches, and I'm like, these girls seem really cool. I'm like, oh my god, like, I for one, when I lived in Seattle, like, just never felt like I could really find the person that I was looking for there. Like, anybody who's from Seattle maybe knows what I'm talking about, but, like, there's just kind of this, like, standoffish
like
energy.
The Seattle freeze vibe.
Yeah, where it's like, we're all slightly depressed because of the weather. Like, I don't know what it is, but, like, it's very hard to just, like, approach people there, or, like, I've found that at least. But in LA, like, I don't know, just right off tops, like, everybody just seemed more friendly, probably because they all are looking for friends. But, like, I was so excited in the beginning. I was like, bro, like, I'm finally gonna, like, have, like, a big friend group, which is, like, what I've wanted for years, but, you know, not understanding the nuances of that.
Nuances go crazy.
Yeah, because, like, in the beginning, I was just matching up with a bunch of different people. I was going on Bumble dates literally, like, every day of the week when I first moved here, because it was just exciting, and, like, I was looking for my people, and even my boyfriend Carl was just like, do you remember me?
Do you have time for me?
Hang out? And I'm like, when the girly pops peter out, maybe.
When the girly pops pull through, Carl's irrelevant. No hate to Carl, though. We do love him.
We love him so much.
He's one of the girls.
He's very sweet.
Okay, we're actually so bad at this. Okay, so our first date, I feel like we should talk about this.
Yes.
This is actually kind of cute. I feel like it's like, a sign from the universe that we, like, we had been trying to make plans for, like, weeks, and then it kept falling through.
It was, like, 3 full weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Of, talking, but, like, barely talking also, because, like, we started out, and, like, oh my god, we were just texting back and forth for, like, 2 days straight, and then, like, all the motivation left my body.
I think, low-key, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is the first time you're hearing this from me, actually.
Okay, let's hear it. What do you have to say? Excuse me?
I think it was the fact that you said you were, like, still in the process of moving. I was like, she's not even here, like, whatever.
Oh, I actually forgot about that. So that was when I was texting you. Is like, there was a period of time for, like, 2 weeks when I was, like, not actually here. Yeah, but I was like, you don't need to know that.
That period, I in fact did know that. So we met on there. We should talk about our first date. So our first date, I love calling them dates.
They are dates.
Our first date was, honestly, like, I don't know if I'd say that this is, like, always how a friend date should go, because I think people start off different ways, but I feel like with us, like, it was 2 minutes, and then it felt like we had known each other
literally
forever. Like, I think...
Yeah, and, like, let me just say, I don't think everybody's, like, always lucky with that, because, like, you know, I felt like an instant connection with you right off tops, but I think that spoke a lot to the fact that we're both from Seattle, and so, like, you know, I don't know if anybody else has kind of experienced this if you've moved from a different state that you're not from, but, like, when I meet people who are from Washington, like,
it's a feeling.
There's, like, a kinship there. Like, you just understand certain things that other people who are from other areas don't, and so that was, like, right off tops, like, what struck me about you. But, you know, there's been other people that I've met on Bumble BFF that I didn't feel that way about right off tops, but they were just maybe, like, slower to open up, and, like, doesn't say, you know, doesn't speak to, like, what kind of connection you can have.
Totally.
But, you know, obviously, when you find that person that you just really click with
immediately,
it's a beautiful thing, and that's what I'm hopefully trying to help you do if you don't already have enough of those people in your life already.
I think if I could give one piece of advice just off tops, I mean, the Seattle thing, like, really had me sold, but I think this sounds, like, simple, but I feel like it's harder in practice. Just not, like, oversharing, not trauma dumping, although we low-key did some trauma dumping.
Yeah.
But, like, just being a talker. Like, I think just, like...
The more open you are, the more I think people, like, want to be your friend. And, like, you know, definitely, like, I just feel like in the post-pandemic age, like, I don't know, like, I just feel like people's conversation skills have maybe been affected. And I'm making a big generalization, but, like, I'm sure there's some of us that can recognize that. But, like, a lot of the girls that I've gone out with, like, you can just tell right off tops, like, if they're kind of, like, introverted or nervous or, like, don't know what to say. And, like, the people that I am so much more excited to see are just the people that want to just tell me about themselves. And, like, also, let me just say, this is something I want all of you to jot down in your mind. Please don't be that interview friend who literally just wants to interview you and ask you a million questions, but then doesn't really share much about yourself. You know, like, for me, I'm always just looking for somebody who, you know, I can tell, like, why they wanted to meet up. You know, they have things that they want to say, they want to learn about me, and like, it's in, like, an equal give and take in the conversation.
Yeah. And honestly, I think, like, definitely don't be the interview friend, but also this is, like, the thing that appealed to me the most about you, because I'd been bumbling for, like, a long ass time when I met her, because I moved to LA way before her. Like, I had started kind of falling into the interview trap just because I'd gone on so many dates where these girly pops just weren't, like, talking. So I would, like, this is so dorky, but I would, like, make a list in my mind of, like, topics we could cover for when it inevitably fell silent and awkward, which it usually did. And I think the thing that appealed to me the most about you, honestly, was I sat down with her and she just started talking and I completely forgot all my questions, but, like, we just never stopped talking. I mean, like,
we're still nonstop talking.
we literally don't stop talking. Yeah. Like, we do not shut the fuck up.
Fun fact about us, this podcast is going to be a thought exercise because our ability to stay on one topic together is very difficult.
Okay, so speaking of topics, because I'm gonna, like, be your accountability buddy.
Help me.
What was your first impression of me? Like, when I walked, actually, wait, I think your very first impression of me before we even, like, met Get Up officially was that I was lame as shit because we both lived in this like kind of like small suburb of LA, and there was like a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf literally like 5 minutes from both of us.
Yeah.
But she wanted to go to this like cool like LA like funky
Okay, let me tell this from my perspective.
Okay, you go ahead.
So, no hate to anybody that loves Coffee Bean and
So
Tea
much
Leaf.
hate.
No,
A little hate. Shorty Bay called it airport coffee in the most disrespectful way.
Because it is. I don't know about y'all, but the only time I've ever been to a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf was at an airport on a layover.
I go to Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf every time I want delicious bevies. Thank you so much.
Wrong. This is a woman who doesn't drink coffee, FYI. So she's very biased. The espresso from Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf tastes burnt to the umpteenth degree.
But have you had their milkshake frappe?
No, because I am an adult. And that is disgusting.
Okay,
but no hate for real. Drink whatever coffee you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, she invites me out to Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, and I'm like, bruh, I don't want to give them my money. I do not want that burnt ass espresso. And so I was like, all right, we can
But
do
I thought
that.
she was like, she tried to like pitch this other coffee shop, and I was like, low key, I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of done with like Bumble BFFing at that point.
Yeah. Also, side note, I'm a horrible texter, and that's been another thing I've had to overcome being on like Bumble BFF, because I am a FaceTime girly. I want to just get on the phone and talk, or I want to just like show up in person. I hate texting. I hate voice memos. I hate pretty much all of that because I don't know, like I'm a free flowing person and I talk really fast and like it's hard for me to communicate that way.
That's something people actually don't talk about enough. Like I think text is so common now, but it's such like the way we all use it is so different, because some people honestly do treat it like email, where they're like, I don't have to respond to you quickly, I'm gonna type like long thought out things. Some people try to have real-time conversations with you. Some people like, we just mostly use it for logistics, and if we want to talk about something for real, we FaceTime.
Literally, I just text her to know if I can FaceTime her.
That's so real, actually.
And like I think that is like really a beautiful place to get to in any friendship, because like I know for a fact I'm not the only one out there who just hates texting and like doesn't want to have to communicate that way.
That's so real.
It's really hard to like have a free flowing conversation when like you have
you're
to
like
think it through.
overthinking what you say.
And like, let's be real, you know, I have a partner, you have roommates, like we're not always stuck to our phone, and so you can't really have like a real time conversation that way.
I think that's so true. Okay, we got sidetracked. What was your first impression of me when I waltzed through the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf door?
All right.
You were like, she's so beautiful.
The first thing I thought was, why are we at an airport coffee shop? No, okay, the real first impression that I have was you were very smiley right off top. So I'm like, slay, I can work with that. I am a very, very smiley, bubbly, over the top, energetic person. It's called ADHD, people. But yeah, I have a whole lot of energy, and so I really do struggle being with people that are more monotone or like, you know, just don't have energy in the same way I do.
Energy doesn't feel like open.
Yeah, like, you know, let me just say, I don't need somebody to be as chaotic as me, but like I do like somebody who's just, you know, bubbly and like, I don't know, like wants to talk a lot, because that's what I like to do. And so right off tops, I saw that smile and I was like, okay, I can work with this. And, you know, I hung out with other Bumble girls and like straight up they would walk in and like not look excited. And I'm like, bruh, I came out here for you. I would hope you want to see me. But yeah, and then you sat down and like right off tops I could tell you were a little nervous, which I also low-key loved, because I'm like, she cares. But yeah, and then I don't remember what we first talked about, but it was a lot like this, where we just kind of launched into something and then it just snowballed into a bunch of other stuff, and then I was like, 2 hours have gone by and I didn't even realize the coffee is terrible.
You know what's funny? I actually don't remember what we first talked about either.
I have no idea.
I know like things we talked about. I do not know like what I first said to you to break the ice. I think it might have been like, how are you? That's actually, I don't know if anybody else feels that, but like I have this, not just like on, like I have it on dates, but also like friendship. Anytime I'm meeting someone for the first time, after we've like said hi, hugged, whatever, I don't know what the first thing to say is.
I know, that is so hard.
Sometimes I go with how was the drive here, but that makes me feel like I'm 40 to like ask about traffic.
Let me just tell you right now, if you had asked me that, I would have been like, the fuck?
You would have been like, not as good as...
I mean, I made it here, so good, I guess.
Now it's my turn to tell you what I thought of you.
Oh, damn.
She walked in and no, I'm just kidding. I will say I was like a little bit intimidated because you came in and I thought you were like so cool, like with your tattoos. And she had this like adorable little green purse that I thought was so fucking like so fire.
Oh yeah,
which is actually now mine. I just got gifted it for my birthday. I just
gave it to her. That was hard to part with. I hope you know how much I love you. That was like a big moment
for you. I felt so much love. Yeah. So much love. But she came in with like these cool like palazzo pants and her tattoos and her like her little purse, and I was like, she's way too cool for me. Like I had not put a lot of thought into my outfit, if I'm being honest. I just rolled up and was kind of...
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I remember what you wore. And not to say it's a fucking fashion show out here, but low key in LA it is a little bit.
It's not a fashion show. Yeah. Also, like, it doesn't have to be a fashion show. I undershot the mark hard. Just like anybody.
You look like you rolled out of bed a little bit. In all the best ways, though. I was like, you know what? She's not putting on for me. She's just coming how she is slay.
You know what's so funny? Okay, so I just want like a disclaimer. I've had like a style makeover in the last like year and a half. I actually did think that outfit was super cool.
Oh no.
Someday we'll show a picture of it, but I was like,
pretty
awesome.
Sure it was the jumpsuit and you wore like a zippy hoodie with it.
I did. Okay. I did not wear a zippy hoodie. I did wear like a very 2016 jean jacket, like a tight-fitting, like dark denim jean jacket.
Yeah.
It wasn't giving. Yeah. I was under the impression that it was cool because I had big ass hoops on.
You know what? It did the trick. I stuck around.
I think the thing that I like loved the most about you off tops is that you looked like this super like cool put together person. And I was expecting kind of like a more like mellow, like black cat, I guess, sort of energy. But you were a fucking dork. Like off tops, you were as dorky as me.
I am a dork. I know this about myself, and let me just say, I used to be so embarrassed that I felt like I was a dork, and now it is my favorite thing about myself.
No, I think it's
and
the best.
Other people. I'm like, if you can embrace your dorkiness, that says a lot about the type of person that you are.
Like, just be a fucking nerd.
I would just be a dork, because life is not that serious.
No,
it shouldn't
really
be, at the very least.
I think people see Bumble BFF too much like a dating website. Like, they put way too much stock into the photos they pick and, like, bios and answers. Honestly, when it comes to, like, making female connections or just friendships in general, because, you know, guys can use Bumble BFF, it's really not about the profile. It's about the way you message people.
Oh, yeah. Like, and just, like, the vibe that you're giving in your bio. I do think bios are important.
Bios are important.
But, like, you shouldn't treat it like a dating app. Like, I see so many girls, and they're literally posting, like, the hottest photos of themselves on Bumble, and then their bio is, like, really, like, cutesy and, like, low-key seductive. And I'm just like, bro, like, I don't know.
Like, if I wanted to fuck you, you'd be very popular with me.
I would just start with that, you know? But, like, I do feel like, I don't know if these people are, like, just, like, using the same profile that they use for dating through Bumble BFF, but I believe that you can, like, change it, you know, regardless of if you're using the app for multiple things. And, like, my advice would be, put some photos of you in there looking just normal AF. No glam, no, you know, it ain't a fashion show. Like, just show what you really look like on, like, an average Tuesday. And then, like, show a picture with the friends that you have in your life, if you have any. You know, try to showcase the fact that, like, this is what I want. You know, this is the type of vibes I'm after. And then, you know, I would answer a few of the question prompts and, like, show your personality. Because, like, the people that show me their personality in their profile, like, I get so much more jazzed about than the people that, like, I literally just feel like are annoyed that they're even having to fill it out and are just trying to get it over with.
And, like, honestly, like, this may be hard advice to follow, but, like, find moments to be funny. Like, I think that there's a lot of, like, on Bumble BFF, because we're all trying to, like, show that, like, we're girls and we'll be fun. There's a lot of, like, hey, girly energy, but, like, be a little, like, quirky, too. Like, be a little weird, make some jokes. And be, honestly, my best piece of advice is be specific about what you like to do. Like, if you like to thrift, if you like to, like, swim, play beach sports, craft, like, game, whatever you like to do, be specific, because that's what I look for. Like, I'm very into Goodwill thrifting as of recently.
Oh, yeah.
Huge Goodwiller now. But, like, I would love to see somebody that, like, to do that. And if I'm not so much into gaming.
Yeah.
So if you are, like, you should, like, put that out there so we can just honestly save each other time. But I would say,
that's important. Let me just say, because like I think that segues into my next point that I was gonna make, which is that like something I found that makes it easier to actually find out if you're vibing with somebody or not. Like, you know, like I said earlier, I hate texting, not really into just messaging girls back and forth a bunch of interview questions. That's not my vibe. You know, like for me, I base kind of the general vibe off of their profile. If I like them enough to swipe on them, I feel like I like them enough to get a coffee with them.
Absolutely.
Because like, let's be real, like if you hang out with somebody and you don't vibe with them, you don't have to see them ever again. You know, I am not a huge proponent of ghosting, but like, you know, we're out here trying to get to know each other. Like just because you hang out with somebody doesn't mean you need to be lifelong friends. Yeah. So like my outlook on things is like just try to get them in person, whoever you're trying to befriend, because then it's like that's when the real trial starts and you can see whether you vibe or not. And like I don't like wasting a whole bunch of time like low-key we did in the beginning of like 3 weeks of talking back and forth. And I will say this, like I think let's revolutionize the like Bumble BFF like mode of conduct right now. I really do think like you're 100% right. It's different in dating apps because in dating apps it's a lot easier to flirt over text. It is not easy to see if you have a friend connection over text. And I think like I've heard this from all of my Bumble friends, literally all of them, and I've experienced it. Like you get these girls and you just message back and forth with your like girly pop energy, and then suddenly you've been messaging for weeks, and then the energy and the motivation to actually meet just kind of dies. And so this thing that could have been a great connection just peters out because nobody, I think this is actually really interesting because I think girls are a little bit less I think girls are less used to making the first move. So I think it's kind of hard for people to figure out like, what should we do first? Like, is coffee like too lame? And let me just say right now, like I think we're all a little like
shy.
Yeah. And I think there is a level of insecurity to all of us who are on Bumble BFF because I mean we're young women looking for friends as an adult. Like there is like, you know, a certain level of like stigma that comes with that of like feeling like I'm a loser. Like, why don't I have friends already? Like, why am I even doing this? You know, like, and like I've told certain people that I know who already have a bunch of friends that I'm on this app trying to find friends. And like, I've gotten some judgment for it.
I've gotten some major judgment, but let me just like destigmatize it right now. First of all, it like, let's just all own it is fucking hard to make friends as an adult when you're in a new place, you don't have the benefit of school, you don't work with people who are like of your age. Making friends is really hard. And I will say to all the Bumble BFF haters, it's a mixed bag. It is exactly like dating apps. It's a mixed bag. Like some people meet their husband and wife and some people meet their like worst nightmare. And it's how it goes. But I met you off there and you're like one of the best friends I've ever had.
I'm your future husband. So.
That is actually so true.
Yeah, you better admit to that. But yeah, like I completely agree that it's a mixed bag because like I said when I first started and I was so gung-ho over the fact that like so many people were interested in meeting me, like I wanted to meet a million different people and like when I'd have like a really good Bumble hangout with somebody new, I'd get like an extra burst of energy and I'm like, oh my god, now I want to do this even more but with different people and like sooner or later I'm just gonna have this whole slew of friends around me and like that's just not realistic, you know. Like I've learned like there is only a certain amount of time in a day, in a week, in a month, and like you know, if you're really going to develop like deep relationships with anybody, like you need to spend consistent time with them like every week and like, you know, that amount of time can be different from person to person but like I think that is a question you have to ask yourself when you're seeking out community is like how much free time do I actually have to allot to this pursuit that I'm going on, and like, you know, how many friends do you think I can really keep up with? Like, do I have the emotional energy to be texting people all the time, FaceTiming, linking up, you know? And if you don't, like, maybe just focus on one or two people, you know? And like maybe your ultimate goal is having that huge friend group that I think all of us deep down
like we dream about from like the high school movies.
Yes, you know, but like realistically, like even the friends that I have that did have that for the majority of their lives, like a lot of those people have said like, girl, it ain't all that great. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of bullshit. Like, you know, just find your couple people and then that right there is enough.
Dude, like Sex and the City got it right. You need your 3 girly pops to make your foursome and we're good. But I was actually going to say, I think that's a really good point. And I do think it's sort of like important to, to try and like when you're approaching the apps to try and meet people quickly, to be fun in your profile for sure, but also honestly to like know what you want so you don't burn yourself out. Like I actually, when I use Bumble BFF, I usually pause it a lot. Like I will have 2 to 3 girls that I like am actively like in conversation with or planning to meet, and then after that I like pause it, because I think anybody who's on any kind of app has experienced this. You just get burnout and you wind up like ghosting people or just not putting your best foot forward, and it's not good for you, but it's also not good vibes to like put into the Bumble BFF sphere.
100%, because I'm like, a lot of us, like, if we're on there, we've only been on there for a short time.
True.
Or on the other side of the coin, like, maybe like you know, you've been on there for years and have never really had, like, a super positive experience.
Yeah, like, just, like, reactivating, deactivate. Yeah. Like, I met you.
Yep. And like, you know, when I first started, I met you and like a couple other girls that I was really excited about. And
Same.
like, let's be real, those other girls are not still around.
Yeah, we did have a couple. We'll get into that in a later episode, but we did have a couple other girls who we don't have now.
Yes, and there's definitely some stories to tell there.
Oh boy, are there.
But you know what? Needless to say, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, if you meet somebody and you vibe for a week, like, I see that as a positive thing.
Totally.
You know, you don't have to be in other people's lives for the rest of your life. Like, decide how long somebody's gonna add some positive experience to your life. And like, if they're pouring into you, then you can pour into them. But like, if at any point you need to, you know, re-identify who you want to pour into, like, I think that that's warranted. And like, we all need to like make space for the fact that we're going to change over time. And like, this pursuit to find community is something I feel like everybody in the world has to deal with for the rest of their life, regardless of how many people that you have close to you, or like if you're even seeking out community, you know. Like, I think deep down, like, things are just always going to change, you know, and you have to just embrace the change and like know that like you're a dope person, and like, if you treat other people the way you want to be treated, you will find your people.
Absolutely. Like, life ebbs and flows, honestly. And I feel like that's a really good mentality to have. And my like favorite catchphrase to say to myself when I'm like doing my shit on the apps is just, it's never that deep. Like, it's never that deep. I mean, it would be nice to meet your best friends, but just off tops, you're just like, you're looking for connection and just to...
And like, especially for people in their early 20s, like, I think we're all like trying to find ourselves, our identity, what we want in the world. And like, when I think about the reasons that I'm looking for community or new friends in my life, even though I have some right now, you know, like, I still want to meet more people, because I know the more experiences I have with different people will teach me different things, and that will pour into my search of my own identity and what I want in the world. And like, I know that to like continuously grow as a person, like, you need to experience different things at different points in your life, and like, just be open-minded to that. And 100%. So like, you know, so many girls I've met, they like literally want to be my best friend forever. Guess what? That's not a decision that's on the table right now.
No,
like,
we're just connected.
We're taking it a day at a time. All right, guys. Well, that's our episode for this week. Thank you for listening. Obviously, we are shooting the shit this week and really just getting a hang for things. Hopefully you guys got to know us a little bit better.
Yeah. Next week, we want to dive into more of the specifics about like the do's and don'ts of Bumble BFF, how to genuinely use the apps for friend making, like the good, the bad, the crazy. We might debrief a few dates for you. We got some funny stories.
We have some anecdotes, so you guys will want to tune in. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye. Bye.